Hi, I'm Anya. I'm on the women's track team.
Hello, I'm Marquis Browning. I'm on the men's basketball team.
Hi, I'm Claire Bovair, and I'm on the women's track team.
Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I wanted to ask you why it's important to you guys to be mental health advocates.
It's really important to me to be an advocate for mental health because I guess once I started recognizing things in myself where my mental health was lacking or places in which I was struggling, I started to notice it in my friends and my teammates, and knowing what that struggle feels like and having to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, I know how hard that is. And anything I can do to kind of help my friends or teammates through that, I would love to do, just so they hopefully don't have to struggle in the same ways that I have.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. To add on to that, I feel like having strong mental is very important as well because I've been there before, and being a student athlete, like there's times where you got to go to class and you're juggling so much, and it'll be hard to just go through that alone and stuff. So I always felt like I need to speak up to somebody and not feel embarrassed by that and just accept help.
Definitely. Yeah, that's awesome. That was going to be my next question too. Like, just how has it affected you as athletes? I would say that for me, it's been similar to like a physical injury in that, like, I redshirted for 2 years due to mental health, and it was really challenging to have that setback and have that be a challenge to come back from. But my team was always really supportive of me and my coaches as well. So, yeah, how has it affected you guys as student athletes? You kind of already touched on it.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, like, I realized over the past couple years that I've been on the track team here at EWM, like, I haven't even really been allowing myself to enjoy my experience because I'm just so anxious all the time about performing well or not letting myself down, not letting my teammates or my coaches down, not letting my school down. Like, we're told all the time that we are like representatives of our university and we should like wear that proudly. And that comes with a lot of weight and seemingly like expectations on yourself. And it really caused me to like not even be able to enjoy my time here and like missing out on enjoying something that I love so much. So it's definitely been like a long road to come to terms with that. Like, all those expectations aren't necessarily like imposed on me personally, and just like working through that to have less anxiety about performing and just kind of enjoying myself and my teammates and the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. That really resonates with me as well. I know we've talked about it before. Yeah. When you guys are struggling and like having a rough time with mental health, I guess what are some of the signs that you notice in yourselves that maybe things are getting worse and maybe you need to reach out for help?
I'd say maybe lack of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
not eating all the time, just find yourself, maybe if you have some free time, not going to hang out with your teammates or friends or anything, just being alone. And it can start affecting you with sports and stuff like that. And just really when I just start to just close in on myself and things like that.
Like isolating yourself and
Yeah,
stuff like
pretty
that.
much.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Claire?
Yeah, kind of the same. Definitely a lot of like physical symptoms. I know like personally anxiety affects me a lot physically. Like, I get really shaky, I feel sick, like I just feel so overwhelmed that I don't want to do anything, like can't bring myself to do anything. So it's definitely a lot of like physical stuff that accompanies the mental aspect of like being worried or depressed or anxious.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. Totally. Like when I start to have that lack of sleep and like not eating enough, not hydrating enough, that's kind of when I know it's getting bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What are some of the ways that you guys cope with that? Like things that you do for yourself to kind of try to feel better?
Personally, I like to go work out, honestly. when I go to the gym or go lift weights or something, it'll just ease my mind. You're not really worried about anything else but getting better at your craft. And I feel like it just takes all the weight off my shoulders that I've been feeling when I'm not there. And things like that, or even sometimes, like I said earlier, just opening up to somebody. It'll feel great to just let it off your chest and let somebody be there for you and hear a third person perspective on it.
Yeah, definitely. I know practice kind of just like melts the whole world away most of the time. Like it's just something that you can throw yourself into where the people that are going to be there, the routine that you're going to go through, your coach, like it's kind of an isolated environment where everything else like doesn't really seem to matter. And I think like I know Anya and I are super lucky to have coaches that like support our mental health a lot, and if we communicate with them that we're having a bad time, like they're so flexible with us and allow us to really like work through it in whatever way that we need. So definitely like I turn to my team, my teammates, and my coaches frequently when it comes to like negative feelings.
It's so important to have that support system and people that you can reach out to. Yeah, I feel like for me, my big ones are like exercise, definitely. Just as an athlete, that's always been a big help with my mental health, and being outdoors and being with friends, preferably all of the above, all at once. I guess, what are some ways that other people can help you when you're struggling? I know that sometimes people want to help and don't quite know like the right thing to do or what would be most helpful.
Sometimes I just say like from experience and having friends going through mental issues, I just be there for them. It's nothing really you can say to get them out that mood at the time, but just going and just hanging out with them. You don't have to do anything. Just your presence can make anybody feel better. And if they decide that they want to talk, then you just go about it that way. But I say just your presence. It can have a big effect on things.
Yeah, physical presence means a ton. Like when people are feeling super isolated, I know when I'm feeling isolated, if I'm alone with myself, it feels 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And 10 times more isolating than if somebody were to just come sit next to me. I'm also really fortunate that like many of my close friends and my roommates are like huge advocates of mental health, and they like know me and know when I'm struggling sometimes more than I do myself. And like we have breathing techniques, like they know when I need to like sit down and have a meal with someone because I'm not eating by myself. Like I think a lot of it comes down to, again, just like being physically with somebody and kind of showing that you're there to support them.
Yeah, definitely. I think really those small things go a long way with that, with support, like you guys said. Just like a text to check in, or, making you some food or something like that can be really, really helpful. Yeah, definitely. What are some of the ways that you guys think mental health stigma like persists in our society, in athletics, out of athletics, just kind of what do you guys think about that?
So this doesn't necessarily affect me, but I think like a huge stigma that still exists, and maybe you can speak on this better, is just like men not needing to seek help all the time, like men being expected to, have less emotion or be more closed off. I think that really affects a lot of people our age, a lot of people in general, and especially athletes, because that adds another like front or expectation that like you're an athlete, you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to be strong-minded, and like I think it really keeps people from seeking help a lot of the time.
Yeah, that was a great point you made. Being a male and like just knowing other males, sometimes it'll hurt their pride to go seek for help. They'll think that they're weak, or and it shouldn't be like that. If you need help, then you should be able to go get help without feeling ashamed. And like as athletes, we're all human, and I'm pretty sure you guys can relate. Like we're human. We're not just robots. We have emotions as well and stuff like that. And always grind and not really having the time to just sit back and see how things are going. We just always on the move, and I feel like we just need to take that time out sometimes and just relax a little bit, ease our mind.
For sure. Yeah, those are good points. Definitely. I think also along with that, like, I think it's getting better. The stigma around mental health, definitely. I think it still persists a lot in like certain aspects of it being very taboo still. Like kind of the darker aspects of it, I think, are still pretty stigmatized, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that we are on the right track, definitely. I guess before we wrap up, what is some advice that you guys might have for those who might be struggling?
Advice I would tell anybody who's watching is really don't be afraid to seek help. It doesn't make you look soft or different or anything, because having mental health, a good mental health, is everything. It all starts here, whether you're an athlete, whether you're just working, whatever you're doing in life, just always seek help. Sometimes I even meditate, just play some calming frequencies in the background, and then just sit crisscross applesauce and just breathe. Focus on your breathing. It may seem, cliche or whatever, but if you actually try it, then you'll feel a difference as you get more consistent with it.
I think something that I wish I could have told myself a long time ago is there's no specific threshold of pain or struggling that you need to meet in order to be qualified to seek help. Any amount of discomfort or pain or sadness or anxiety is worthy of being treated, worthy of being talked about. And I think that's something that we don't really focus on enough. And it's not worth it to wait to get help. It's not worth it to wait to talk about it. And even the smallest amount deserves attention, and you're completely valid in what you're feeling. And yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that my advice would be to continue having conversations like this. I think that's super important and not something we do enough of, just checking in on each other and our mental health. So, yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Enjoy talking to you guys.
Yeah,